For more on this, we're now joined by Chairman of the African Diaspora Forum, Amir Sheikh, and he joins us now via our video link. Amir, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Now, many of our reporters today were out in full force to continue to check up the process when it comes to the final day of the registration for spaza shops in the country. You've also been monitoring this process. Maybe just give us your perspective in terms of the feedback you have been getting overall when it comes to the registration of spaza shops.
Thank you very much, Mbali, and good evening to the listeners of SABC. Truly, the last few days have been actually the time that most of the shop owners have gone out in order to make sure that they get registration for their businesses. But the unfortunate thing is that as much as a time which is lengthy was given from 21 days to 200 to 2 months, it's very unfortunate to report that at least, the application that was submitted was very minimal to an extent that Pretoria, which is now boosting to be actually the highest, that have received the highest number of applications, is standing at almost 4,000 plus, whereas the shops in Soshanguve alone and its surrounding actually exceed that number. So the numbers have been very minimal. The approval rate have been actually very low, and it may be seen the government actually came with this plan when they were ill-equipped and when they were not ready for this, because most of the things that actually the Minister and SABC have promised in that government had gazetted standard bylaws of availing the documentation electronically and where a person could actually pay it, is something that have not happened. The exercise was completed today, but unfortunate, very dismal, very stringent, and the number is not actually even surpassing 15 to 20%.
Yeah. And Amir, you could see there quite clearly that a number of people have been frustrated with this process, particularly when it comes to South Africans and locals. And they were saying that it's really been a frustrating process for them. And the minister there also saying that there will be no extension. Will you be appealing to the minister to see if maybe, more spaza shops could be accommodated and for this extension somewhat to be extended?
Yes, somebody sincerely speaking, even if it's extended for the rest of the year, another 9 months, it will not yield the result as long as the process is very stringent and it cannot be achieved. So we will not be asking for more extension, but we will be asking for a lenient where a person can be allowed to go and register his business with the local municipality, ensuring also that they give the standard of the health in the business, and the law enforcement, and especially the metro polices, the environmental health practitioners, the plannings and executive must do their business to an extent that if you are not compliant, then they can immediately close. But shutting down a complete spaza or food industries amounting to over 200 billion will not yield any desired result, and it will impact the business owners who are survivalists, and that is their only livelihood, as well as the local community within the informal settlement and the township that depend on these spaza shops.
Yeah. And, Amir, when it comes to the registration of spaza shops for foreign nationals, how has that been? Because, you would have seen there some, local South Africans complaining, saying that they feel as if foreign nationals were getting special treatment. From the feedback that you have been seeing or getting, when it comes to the experience that foreign nationals who own spaza shops, how has their experience been throughout these few months?
I have visited 5 different provinces since the start of the registration, and unfortunately, in the places that I have gone, I haven't seen any red carpet set for migrants or whether they were given preferential treatment. But I have observed and seen where migrants were not allowed to even go in and register their businesses, and this was in the full scene of the law enforcement that were there. And they were rejected by opportunistic elements and some vigilant groupings that came out and said that, we're giving priority to South Africans and we will only be dealing with. And even as we speak now, We have seen actually that clothes actually being used in places like Mpumalanga, where I have visited small municipalities of actually the deeply saying municipality or Balfour, where even all migrant actually shop in September location are closed because the local community, the Department of Community Safety say that this is an area that is reserved for South Africans and migrants are not actually supposed to be trading. So I haven't seen any actually preferential treatment, but we have seen migrants actually being refused access.
And when it comes to, a bit earlier on, you were touching on the fact that, there's so many spaza shops, particularly when you look at an area like Soshanguve that you know of, that were not able to register their spaza shops on time because today was indeed that deadline. What impact do you think that this will have on some of the remaining spaza shops which, did not meet that deadline?
There is uncertainty. We are talking of actually an industry that is actually over 250,000 spazas or fast-moving consumable goods. And as per the registration that was ongoing now, we are seeing not even 20% of the desired registration of these spazas actually being achieved. There is uncertainty of whether these shops will be shut. The way actually the minister have said earlier that any shop that will not be compliant as on the deadline will actually be closed. And if they are shut down, what will be the plight of those migrants who only see this as their livelihood, or even the local community within the among the impoverished community in the informal settlement or township? How will be their situation be? I think maybe they will allow time, but at least we need now a stringent actually, implementation, a strong implementation of the bylaws so that we do not see the death of any innocent child, and we do not see actually migrants being victimized because of this.
All right, Amir, thank you so much for your time and for that update. That is Amir Sheikh. He is the chairperson of the African Diaspora Forum. They're talking to us about the registration of spaza shops, particularly raising some of the concerns when it comes to not all spaza shops meeting that deadline, which of course was today, but of course also highlighting some of the issues being faced by migrant workers, of course those owning some of these spaza shops.